Unmute. All right, I'm gonna take this to the
Oh,
primary
gee
screen.
willikers.
All right, just want to make sure. Looks like we got a viewer, so that's awesome.
I
Uh,
believe that's just me on my end.
oh well.
Thank you, Tim, for watching.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
you're absolutely you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you for helping us cheat the algorithm. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Oh no. That
Um,
the whole one view that's coming from me monitoring the stream. Yeah,
to monitor chat. Yeah.
yeah, that's really blowing up the algorithm.
I know, right? Like
Put me right at the head.
you know what we could do is we could go full grift mode and we could like get like a bunch of still pictures, get like a couple ransonas, and we can talk about how women are in fact destroying Western civilization.
Um I would there's not a whole lot that I would be able to talk to other than like
I mean, we could go full grift mode, you know.
I mean like we could, but
I mean, at least I have my morals, you know. Unlike YouTube, who does program their algorithm to actually show people like content like that, you know.
oh yeah, I don't think we ever mentioned that, did we? That
Yeah,
even though our video, one of our videos, I think episode what was it, number 2?
episode 2. We don't really have to go into much detail, but yeah,
It
episode 2. We were talking about some issues that you know has been going on in America. We were going through a lot of like scientific like stuff, and it's not like we're getting our information from tinfoilhat.org or Infowars. We're looking at sources like CNN, CNBC,
Even media at the worst.
yeah, I mean, very, mainstream media sources that the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, you know.
things that are very easily verifiable.
Right, yeah.
Um,
But just because reasons.
things that are very and they took it down
Mhm.
and took it down without
We
without
without timestamps, but that's
without
the
timestamps, without saying what was wrong with it, and rejecting our appeal.
yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
and it's ironic because their platform has radicalized more Nazis than than probably in-person groups in the
yeah.
United States for quite a while.
Yeah,
I'm sure that it probably has.
YouTube has been a vehicle for misinformation. YouTube has been a vehicle to spread a bunch of incel-y, MGTOW, like women are crap kind of propaganda, or like, even stuff like the fucking Jewish question shit, like computing forever is a good example. Another fucking YouTuber that has gone just completely insane in like the past 5 years. Started doing the JQ shit.
Well, it's I just find it ironic that
Oh yeah,
our episode was presumably taken down for misinformation.
yeah.
And
Our one of our episodes with like what 5 views, 6 views, maybe
yeah,
10.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
But just remember, this video is probably going to be taken down because we said that YouTube actively uh, radicalizes people to
Well, I mean,
Nazi
it
ideals.
does.
Like,
Like, you
oh
can
yeah,
take
it definitely
down if
does.
you
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
You can take it down if you want.
yep.
And then we're just literally more justified in saying that. But
yeah,
regardless,
and then we're just gonna go on Twitch or some shit. So
regardless,
Parlor, huh?
Oh yeah, why
I,
not?
I I don't think that we can stream on Parlor.
Oh no, but we could go on
Can you?
Parlor. I have no idea. Probably.
Oh well, me and Aaron were kind of talking about how the previous year went,
Mm-hmm.
And like some of the things that had happened that kind of flew under the radar for a lot, or not flew under the radar, but but that we forgot about so quickly, that happened just last year.
Yeah, we could, we should probably talk a bit about 2020 and,
Kind of like a year recap.
yeah, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe just for like a short
Did
segment.
any of you ever watch Jib Jab back in the
No.
day?
No, I have not.
Sorry.
It was so funny. It was like the original, like greatest. It was like the original College Humor, the original everything, and they would
Oh, yeah, okay.
every year they would have like this year-end review, and it's all like cartoon, right? Like they put animation together and stuff, but they'll make fun of everything that happened that year, all the crazy ass things that happened, and every year got more and more crazy if you like look back and watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
they started in like 2004 and ended it in 2015 or 2014 or something like that. But it was amazing to like look forward to. Then you'd see like everything that happened during the year. That's the sort of thing that we should do, but like people should come up with doing that again.
Have you guys ever watched The Onion on YouTube back in the day when they actually did like the news skits, like after they had that Onion movie, and then they had
I've
like,
seen a couple of skits.
yeah, like they had like Horrifying Planet, they had like, Onion News Now or whatever, or like, but like I remember watching that back in high school, knowing full well it was satire, laughing my ass off because I thought, holy shit. I mean, yeah, things are bad, but it'll never get that bad. And then
And now
I
we
watch, yeah,
Yeah.
I watch the same shit. um,
And now
We
we
just
have subreddits literally dedicated,
Not The
like
Onion, yeah,
r/ not the onion.
yeah, and it's like I look back at it, I'm like,
Although that's
wow.
not a uniquely 2020 thing. That didn't.
No,
That
that,
subreddit
that
came out
that's been
before.
something that's been growing since like, probably 2015, 2014. Not even that. I would probably say this has been going on forever.
The second bit of Obama's term, people weren't
Mhm.
exactly super happy. So,
I remember
they cr-
I remember when Obama went against Romney, and I mean, I remember just feeling sick to my stomach that, I bought into the idea of hope. Leaving eighth grade, I was a senior in high school, I think, or no, I was a junior, and like it really sucked having to choose between the two of the one of the lesser evils, that being Obama. At the time, I thought but yeah, I mean, I don't even know if Romney would have been worse, given the administration that's on its way out.
well, I mean that
It's hard to say.
I would
Romney was a
I,
homophobe, and he had some like really crappy ideas about a lot of things. So,
at this point, I am willing to put it out there that all of my Republican congressmen, you're literally traitors, and I hate you. Like,
yeah.
I think that you don't. I don't think that you genuinely care about this country. You only care about lining your pockets, and a lot of the Democrats are like that too. You can
Yeah.
all go to hell for all I
Oh
care.
yeah, speaking of which, they just
The
reelected Nancy.
$2,000, and then Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi had her house vandalized, and she came out saying that her house was vandalized as an effort by Nazis and Proud Boys.
White supremacists. What a
Yeah, and
fucking-
I thought that was ridiculous. Like the vandalism said, pay us our $2,000 and forgive our rent. Like
You know who
it was
fucking came
not.
from. It came from the people in your surrounding community.
Yeah,
It came from the people who wanted to tell you to fuck off. Like, where's the help?
But
Where
you
are
know
we
what
gonna-
though? That's the crap that started a lot of the reactionary shit that we saw starting in 2014, like with Gamergate. Like a complete, rejection of actual issues that are going on by like Democrats. and I think a lot of people were a victim to that, and I know so many people that fell into like the alt-right rabbit hole because of this. And Nancy Pelosi's pulling the same shit that was being pulled back in 2014 when issues weren't even being addressed, like income inequality, gender pay, LGBT rights, the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex. Why do we have people overseas in foreign sovereign nations still? That sort of thing. And to see it happening again, I mean, we're going to be right back into the Obama years. And then I'm worried who's going to be running in 2024 because of this.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely worried about that as well. It's too bad that Bernie won't run again.
Yeah. Oh, he can't.
And it's too bad that he can't be around forever to just keep running. But I'm sorry. That man deserves to be president, in my opinion. He fucking deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I know I don't really care. I'm getting to the point where I don't care about what these eyed-pole liberals want to talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only decent choice to be vice president, period. And he should have gotten it. If Joe Biden was serious about uniting those two factions, he would have handed it over to him. And I don't give a fuck about what everybody else says.
Well, yeah,
it was obviously id poll, like from the moment that it came out of like the host's mouth on the debates. It was id poll the very moment it was spoken, and then it turned into a promise. Do you promise to have a woman vice president?
Yeah.
And then
I'm
gonna have a woman vice president who's a person of color.
The frustrating thing is, it's great, I guess, but it's great
to have diversity, but when they don't actually do anything substantive to help the people that they're there to represent, what is the point?
Right. Well, not only that, but we minority neighborhoods are still over policed. Minority majority neighborhoods are still reeling from the effects of Jim Crow and redlining and discriminatory lending practices. So I mean, to sit there and say we're making progress because we have more female CEOs, it's like, okay, but what are you actually doing about like abortion rights? What are you actually doing about reproductive access? What are you actually doing about actual substantive things that affect the working class, or that affect the middle class, everyone else,
Aaron, it seemed like you had stuff you wanted to say, so I was holding off. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it's
Is there like a bit of a latency on my end?
No.
Okay.
We're just I'm trying to get people to talk when they need to talk. But it ain't happening.
Yeah, Aaron, what the hell?
Aaron.
Aaron. He kept going and going and going.
Lines.
So I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I had a few burning things to say to.
That's fair. Oh no, here's what I was going to say. So it's also horrific when we don't apparently give a shit about the person's background, what they did as a senator from California, what they did as an attorney general from California, how they went after minorities, how they went after people who smoke marijuana, how they went after all sorts of people in order to bring in more revenue for that state. But somehow they're progressive and somehow they're going to be good for the country because of their skin color and their gender.
I mean, what Kamala Harris said about equity, like absolutely 100% on board. Do I think that she actually believes that? No, I don't think she does. I think, I think, right. I think a lot of it on her end is virtue signaling for her base, but not that we all know that. But it's frustrating.
Hey, we stand.
Yeah, because it's like, what's going to be done? We're going to see her have a TED Talk about how we need more people in high power positions where they're making millions of dollars. Like let's talk about public housing. Let's talk about rebuilding our infrastructure. Let's talk about, re-engineering our curriculum for our public school system. Let's talk about renovating schools so that they don't look like literal fucking prisons. Let's talk about minimum wage and how that needs to be raised. Let's talk about union rights. Let's talk about, actual substantive things, healthcare, Medicare for all,
What about
reinvestment in, huh?
what about changing our practices of how we treat everybody else around the world?
Right, yeah, our foreign policy, because right now,
obsession with like
right,
intervention and shit.
well, not only that, but like, even though we vote Democrat or Republican, internationally they're going to behave the same exact way. I mean, this isn't like both sides are bad or what. I mean, yeah, both sides are bad, but Democrats are different from conservatives, absolutely. But I mean, my point is that we like domestically, yes, they're different. Internationally, it's all the same stuff. And that's why, like, a very popular conservative talking point is, well, Barack Obama built the camps for the refugees. It's like, yes, I understand that, but at the same time, like, who's using them? Like Trump didn't come in as a paragon and said, this is horrific, we're shutting this down right now. He didn't do that. No, he used it. He expanded it. So I don't care who did what first. That's just whataboutism. We need to be treating the rest of the world a lot more ethically. And, this imperialist mindset that we have has been going on forever. And it's literally destroying everything.
The United States imperial mindset, that shit is not going away.
No, it's not. It's not.
That is going to be something that echoes throughout time as an American fucking tradition, is being nationalist and isolationist. And I honestly think that that's just how it is going to be. Most Americans are not going to give a shit about how America treats the rest of the world.
Right, yeah.
Without
a doubt. So, I mean, with all that said, it is good that we got Biden instead of Trump. Will we be able to stave off fascism? Hopefully. Hopefully. But I mean, gosh, like, the Proud Boy, like, protests, the, Stop the Steal crap that we saw going on, and then, the protests for the lockdowns back in April. Those lockdowns weren't even lockdowns, they were...
Oh, and what is it now? 132 House representatives, Republican House representatives, and 13 senators, all supporting this literal coup of the American government. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, and it's like, the same party, Republicans, sit there and say, oh, well, the Democrats were sitting there saying that, Trump is an illegitimate president. Well, yeah, he kind of was, because we actually had evidence that Russia was meddling with
we have evidence that there were issues. Like, I don't want to get into whether or not the 2016 election was rigged or anything
right.
Like that. But regardless.
But we have evidence that Russia colluded with the election in 2016. No such evidence came out that Biden fraudulently became president or committed voter fraud, or the Democrats committed voter fraud. Like, there's just no evidence whatsoever. And, like, in the city I live in, just yesterday, there was another protest at the Capitol building, like there always is, and, a bunch of people coming around saying, stop the steal. There was this woman on a microphone saying, if you need to learn how to fire a gun, come to me and I'll teach you how to fire a gun. I will show you where to buy a gun.
With Barbie?
I think so. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Stupid. Oh my God, I'm sick. No. I'm sorry. We've been dealing with this since May of this year.
Yeah.
Since the BLM folks started protesting in the Capitol.
Well, and you know what happened originally?
Out here and they sound like fucking idiots.
They sound insane.
Yeah.
They're unhinged. Like,
and what's sad is that now, since nobody's really, and this is why I got annoyed a few weeks ago when I was talking to you guys about this, but nobody's really counter protesting them.
no,
So it just
yeah,
makes me look like, this is Carson City. This is how stupid we fucking are. This is the best of our population. These
Yeah.
absolute fucking morons who don't know anything, who don't believe in science, who don't give a shit about healthcare, who don't give a shit about health of people.
they don't give a
like,
shit about minorities, you know.
Don't give a shit about minorities. Nothing. That's
Nothing.
the best of Carson City.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's like, you know, speaking as someone who had to like go through like the worst parts of, because when I lived in Denver, I had to go through Colfax, I had to go through 5 Points, Downing, notoriously bad neighborhoods. I felt a lot safer in those neighborhoods than I did at that protest or near that protest, because I felt like if I looked at one of those patriots the wrong way, I could have been killed or beaten up. You know, if I was wearing too much black, I could have gotten the shit kicked out of me. You know, like it's true. It's happened. You know, there's literal videos of like these Proud Boys going out beating the crap out of random people.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like for imagined reasons, like assaulting men and women. Like there was a video of a woman who was with the IWW, International Workers of the World, I believe, and you know, she had the press badge and everything, and she was like, you know, taking a look at everything. People were like coming after her, assaulting her, like holy shit. Like these people are literally ready to kill someone, and it's I mean it's terrifying.
Did you get a chance to hear her sing?
Oh yeah, that was the first stuff we heard. We were like, wow, live band. A couple friends and I, you know, were checking it out, and yeah, we were like, holy hell, this is it's bad. You know, I at first I thought, you know, let's all go clown watching, guys, and then, you know, and then we went out and we saw what was going on, and we were like, okay, I don't feel safe, let's go.
Yeah, well, I live in constant danger. So.
Yeah. Ooh, is Danger your middle name?
It's only my third middle name.
Danger William Rogers Johnny Knoxville Danger Williamson.
Super spreader.
The only thing I'm super spreading is my
a triple entendre.
sexuality.
You're gonna say your gene pool.
Naomi's just looking at you.
She's like, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have been a lot funnier if, you know, you just let it happen and, you know, could have like clipped that.
Really?
Just let it happen.
Yes. Just don't point it out, man. Just let it happen. And then we can clip it, and then we can like put it on the YouTube, and then we can make all the money. Yes, the YouTube.
The YouTube.
The YouTube.
Yeah.
Aaron, your camera is gone, by the
Oh,
way.
Yes.
I'm well aware of that. Yes, they're
Okay.
going to have to just settle for hearing my radio voice for a little bit.
This is Aaron Shims with the 5 o'clock news
Aaron.
forecast. We are going to talk today about Snickers
Aaron.
candy bars.
Aaron,
And that's the way the chocolate chip crumbled.
Sweeping the nation, you are not yourself without a Snickers, they say. Take a look at Janice, who went without a Snickers, and then she ended up beating the shit out of her boyfriend. Her boyfriend then gave her a Snickers, more at 11.
oh no. Oh gosh, my internet is terrible.
Yeah,
So bad.
you're a little pixelated now.
Sorry.
How could you?
And it's I live with people who completely disagree with me. You know.
Do you really?
Oh yeah,
Christian disagrees with you?
No,
all the
not
time.
Christian.
all the time.
Well, I mean, Christian disagrees with me on everything, yeah, but usually because he's a little contrarian. But but he generally agrees with me on stuff.
Politics, at
Mhm.
least.
Yeah, but my family does not. So
Oh no.
yeah, I believe there are there's at least one person in my household who believes that Trump was, stolen. The election was stolen from him.
By the way,
Well, I was gonna say, I think we'd be celebrating if Trump was stolen.
Yeah.
but by the
Who
way,
would take it?
if it makes you feel a lot better, I'm updating the title of the episode as we talk about separate topics. So,
Awesome. Add like tags and stuff so more people can find it.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I didn't mean for that to come out like a demand. I just think that's a good idea.
Don't worry, Tim always
Yeah, no,
makes demands of me, so it's nothing new.
Oh yeah, God forbid I demand that we have titles.
Hey, the titles
then,
are
Tim,
there. I number everything. It's true.
I guess we're not really doing the screen names anymore, are we?
I guess not. Well, I can't change the.
Well, I mean, y'all always forget, so.
Yeah.
We do. It's hard. We're friends. I mean, we could try, but meh.
Yeah, it's
It's not hard for me, but.
Oh, we got a
maybe
second
you
viewer,
should try.
guys. We got a second viewer. Hello.
Not on my end.
Shows on my end.
Oh, okay, if you get that excited over another viewer, I'm pretty sure that never mind.
Hey, you know
It's
what?
great.
It's a
Welcome
great
to
thing,
It's a great thing. It's a great
It is
day.
a great thing.
It's a fantastic
great thing
day.
to have more people watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if our podcast is kind of it's great to have another viewer.
We sit and we talk about stuff, and that's pretty much what we do with with a little bit of a focus on politics, and that's just
pretty much. Yeah.
I want to go back for a second though to the dynamics that exist within your household about how okay. So you mentioned that at least one person believes or might believe that the election was stolen from Trump, and that's one thing.
More than likely.
But does this person also believe in a lot of the other really weird right-wing conspiracy theories that have been popping out over the past couple of years?
Oh yeah. Yep. And it is not nice to know that somebody in such close proximity to me is
actually
believing those kinds of things.
Yeah, because what one of your family members legit believes in the whole Q conspiracy and all that.
As far as I'm aware, they said some things about stuff like that, and I was like, oh, yeah, yikes, and I left the conversation because we were already having a very heated argument about systemic racism. And this person was just kept throwing small anecdotes at me, like Kamala Harris said that she's going to destroy America or whatever, and then I have to find whatever she's talking about and be like, this is literally untrue. You can literally just watch the video of Kamala Harris saying, I'm not going to destroy the country.
One thing I have noticed is that these people rely solely on anecdotes and nothing else.
I did that for about an hour, like a ton of stuff, and it never got to the substance. And oftentimes, when I was trying to talk about the intricacies of why systemic racism is such an issue, especially in the U.S., I would get cut off with more nonsense, and then the Q signaling just started, and I'm like, you know what? No, that's not worth it.
God.
That's a little much.
Yeah, no.
It's a bit unfortunate, actually. That's sad.
there's nothing you can do about it. This person is just in my head has always been just monumentally dim in
Mm,
respects to this type of thinking. Like you can be like kind of like street smart and then have all of this book knowledge like really just off base.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it has happened. It's just that the book knowledge doesn't exist.
Right.
And it doesn't exist for so many people in this country because we've been underfunding education for decades.
There was a pretty
And
good
I can
video by
guarantee you that's why.
there was a good video I watched earlier by Renegade Cut about Ronald Reagan, the American slasher, and I actually went into the cultural artifacts of like the '80s, especially with movies and slasher films, and the symbolism within those slasher films of like the promiscuous people going to like the lake and then they get slashed down by Jason Voorhees as they do drugs and right after they've had sex. It's like literally an indictment against like Nancy Reagan and the religious Puritan morality of that time period, right after like the whole free love era and all that. Oh, we lost a viewer. Oh well.
And if you think about it, though, that also became kind of the foundational basis of a lot of horror films,
Yeah.
even through to today. Like that became really just the foundation. So, and we see that still in some horror films that are popularized today, that are made today. But I think that they've expanded it a little bit. But that's a very good point. It's interesting because a lot of symbolism in not just horror films, but in movies in general, in music and culture.
A lot of it's a product of like the time period.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting because it's not even just the time period, but it really showcases what I would call the prevalent ideology of the time period, right? That you needed to have that kind of modern slash Puritan value, or the modern version of Puritan value, coupled with this obsession with profit and making money, and you're only worth something as a human if you are somewhere high in a corporation or whatever. Yes. And it was just a weird, like, what a weird mix of things. How does this is one thing that I never understood about a lot of conservatives. On one end, they are so Puritan in belief, being anti-drugs, being anti-sex outside of marriage, being anti-gay people, blah blah blah. And then on the other hand, they completely justify the greed and obsession and worship and value of money, which is supposed to be one of, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bible claims that the love of money is the root to all evil. So
yeah, usury was a sin, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't understand
usury was considered a sin.
And also, I'm sorry for all of the Trump voters out there, or the Christian ones at least. But in the Bible, it does say that it is more likely for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. I'm just saying.
Well, no, Supply Side Jesus actually has a lot more to say on that. Actually, have you heard of the Supply Side Jesus?
Yeah.
No, you haven't heard. You haven't heard of Supply Side Jesus? Oh, it's like a hilarious set of like comics. Oh, it's like libertarian Jesus. That's literally what it is. It's oh my god. You have to see it. Supply Side Jesus.
Supply Side Jesus.
Do you want to share your screen with Discord, and I can put it up here as well?
Well, I want to make sure whoever the artist is gets the credit.
Oh, absolutely.
Are these like... How old are these?
I'm not sure how old the Supply Side Jesus comics are, but I mean... I type like a boomer. Let's see. Oh, Al Franken.
Al Franken did it?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, Al Franken.
I didn't know that Al Franken did that. Wow.
Yeah. But what was it?
I'm
Let's
sorry,
see.
I'm looking at the comic.
It's
I
pretty good, isn't
apologize.
it?
I'm being silent. Well, I haven't gotten super far into it. I'm still reading it. But
You should be chuckling at the first comic.
I was just gonna say, we thought you gone through like 30 by now.
Yeah, like, you know. Wait.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Some people are a little bit reading.
Hey,
I like
you
to
know,
comprehend. Thank you. Leprosy is a matter of personal responsibility.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, if the one person is viewing this is interested, look up Supply Side Jesus by Al Franken.
He's already doing that.
The one view.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Oh,
can't,
right.
I can't show
I see what you
I
did
can't-
there.
I can't show it.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
I can't show it as well. So
Yeah.
like, because it could very well be like a copyright that I don't have permission to show. So
That is true.
like, I might be able to look at it privately as a private citizen, but I might not be able to put it on display.
We'll take a look at the. I mean, given oh yeah, did you guys hear about the law that might be passed where a DMCA claim can get you thrown in prison, possibly? Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so like a DMCA claim, like if you're like a streamer on Twitch or on YouTube, like let's say you play a music clip for longer than 5 seconds, for example. Let's say, the system flags you and you get a DMCA claim. You could end up being thrown in jail if this bill passes. I don't know what it was, but
It was a felony.
yeah,
It was turning it into a felony.
yeah,
Felony copyright law.
yeah,
And like a felony copyright law that only
affects
that
streamers
affects-
and content creators on YouTube, and a lot of times
it mostly affects them. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot
That's
of
pretty
times a
much
lot of those DMCA claims generally. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. Like a lot of this stuff can also fall under like the purview of fair use, But I mean, this is just another way to step on, even fair use law. So
Because I mean, like this seems like some straight up. This is some straight up like undercover 1984 shit. This is
Mhm.
like we're
Yeah.
gonna catch the people that we want to catch because they played 2 seconds of a music video
Mhm.
in the back of their thing and boom.
Well,
they're in prison.
it's just another form of like COINTELPRO without like going in and like completely wreaking havoc against communists and socialists and like Black Panthers and it's just another way of like doing that, but through like the online space. It's literally just to shut down dissenting opinion because they know that they can control.
Because it's happening. Because
Yeah.
more dissenting opinion is happening more and more and more and more and
Online.
more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all happening online.
Yeah.
Because there's not as many avenues today as there may have been in the past where you would know all of the people in your community. Right?
Well, online is practically the only avenue you have these days. Like literally, it's like the
and
only thing.
I mean, and even to hold in-person meetings online is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So, it's this is some scary shit,
It
and
is.
it's gonna happen one way or another, and we'll see if America decides to burn itself, um, and if it doesn't, because I firmly believe that we're headed down the burn itself path. I think
Pretty much.
we're well on our way, um, to having like just some key important person fuck up really really bad, and everything just starts crumbling. I can just feel it. Somebody is gonna fuck up, and somebody's gonna fuck up real soon. I don't know who and I don't know when, but certainly feels like it. And take 2020. Would you blame me? 2021 would just be an upgrade to a new type of disaster, a
I just
nation
think it's
ending.
funny that so many people were thinking, "Oh my God, once it's 2021, I can't wait to get past 2020. Things are going to change. Blah blah blah. New year." It's not the way things work. It's just an arbitrary line on the calendar. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, it's
a nice tool to measure when the Earth makes one full orbit around the sun, but like, I mean, my birthday can also measure one full orbit around the sun as well. So
the people who take that seriously aren't people who have actually suffered as a result of the events of 2020.
Oh yeah, good example. My parents and my aunt on my dad's side. My aunt lives in Hawaii. Always waking up next to the beach. Never really had to like have a whole lot of issues. Lived in like the most beautiful parts of Monterey Bay, California. Now lives in Hawaii. Saying that it's been a great year. My dad, who makes six figures, and doesn't have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, said it's been 2020's been a really good year. And it's like, motherfucker, you literally had to like kick people out of their homes because the industry you work in. Like no, it hasn't been a good year. Yeah, what happened? This is what his company did. It's called Keys for Forgiveness, and basically what it is you surrender your apartment and you give your keys back to the apartment management company, and then they'll wipe out your whole balance. They'll forgive your balance, but you have to like surrender the apartment.
Saintly.
Yeah, it's not forgiveness, and my dad was sitting there saying, "Oh, it was." It's like, no, it's not. What you wipe out their balances and let them stay there because it's better to have it's better to have stable renters after the fact instead of like, because you're still going to have to find another tenant afterwards.
Yeah, you still have to find another tenant. And it's just like,
and you don't even know if that tenant is going to be stable, because we have had like the worst unemployment issues in the history of the U.S.
It's very much like that clip with our friend Ben Shapiro, where they were
Ben
talking about climate
Shapiro
change and rising sea levels, and it was like, well, if that just happens, then they can sell their house, and it's like, sell the houses to who, Ben?
Where are they gonna go after they sell the house?
Fish, like,
yeah.
Like,
oh no,
who are you gonna sell that property to?
That's
it's such short-sighted thinking in the marketplace, and that is what is leading us down our financial spiral, because we're thinking on such a short term. If we make the investments, if we put the money where it needs to go, we, as the US, could be the strongest nation on the face of the planet by a magnitude of 100 times right now. We could be the last bastion of hope and freedom in the entire world, but we haven't laid groundwork for it. We aren't there.
We don't even
we keep looking for that instant.
Well, and not only that, but like it's like when I'm arguing minimum wage with people. you tell them, yeah, you can't afford to like live in a 1 bedroom apartment or a studio in the area we live in on minimum wage. And then they'll sit there and say, well, you're living beyond your means. You need roommates. It's like, where am I going to get the roommates? How are we going to know that those roommates are going to be stable?
Yeah, it's like that people just expect you to get room fucking Craigslist now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse you? You think that I would ever like want to live
not
with
only
somebody
that,
that
but
I don't even know, dude?
not only that, but your safety is in jeopardy with roommates. Not only physical, but you don't
Your
even know if
safety
that.
and your wealth,
Yeah, you
even,
don't
you know,
even
what
know
little you
if
might
like
have.
you could have a roommate come in and then they could gaslight you, manipulate you, abuse you, even if it's like your close friend, you don't know. Roommates suck.
So I want
No one wants fucking
I want to take
roommates.
this particular point to a new level because I really, this is something that I've been thinking about for like 8 or 9 years now, especially in this last decade where we're in between 2 different recessions, right? We didn't know it at the time. In this day and age, and for the past 10 to 15 years, it had become very common for baby boomers specifically to critique and criticize millennials for living in their parents' basement shortly after high school because of blah, 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 right? Like that's been a normal thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to point something out. How many people do both of you know that literally, put college aside, put all that aside, but were able to move out of their parents' house by themselves, afford their own place by themselves, and are completely 110% self-sustaining by themselves? How many people do you know like that?
Myself.
One.
Yeah.
Really? Because you have a girlfriend living with you.
She doesn't pay rent. She doesn't pay rent. She doesn't pay any of my bills.
She contribute anything?
She doesn't contribute anything. I pay all the bills here.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, she for one, she doesn't make enough to contribute.
The vast majority of people that I know, and these aren't people who are poor or anything, it's just the way it is. The vast majority of people I know, if they moved out, they did move in with roommates, or they found a long-term partner, got married, or whatever. To me, it's the same thing. If you live with a family member or a parent, it's the same thing as sharing with a partner or a roommate. There's no difference. You are not
there isn't. Yeah.
And imagine all of the pressure that people feel to get into a relationship because they can't afford to live on their own.
Correct.
That was actually yes. I succumbed to that for a while. Like when I first moved out of the house with roommates, like I always thought it'd be so much better if I had a partner at the time because I like literally it would help me with rent, it would help me with bills, it'd help me with groceries, not it as in that person, but the prospect of the concept of a relationship would help me with XYZ because of the material benefits that a relationship brings you monetarily.
Obviously, I still live with my husband, obviously, but we live in my parents' home now because the rent was just too high. And we're talking about the middle of fucking nowhere, okay? We're talking about the middle of the fucking desert where I live, right? And $1,200 for our fucking apartment, and it was like I would say probably a rather large apartment, but like rather large meaning that it had plenty of space for both of us.
Yeah.
So it was probably a little bit more expensive because of that. But really, the other places around here that are much smaller than that or around the same size, they still cost the same amount.
There are apartments where I'm at, like the place I'm at, pretty good. I pay $835 a month, which is great if you're making like 46,000 a year. But I make more than that, but it's still difficult when you have a car payment, you have insurance, you have to pay for groceries, for 2 people, all your utilities, and then but there are apartments out here that are like 500 or 450 square feet without a washing machine in the kitchen for going for $1,000 a month. But what they'll
Yeah.
do is they'll put down like fake vinyl, or not fake vinyl, but vinyl that looks like hardwood flooring, roll on vinyl, not vinyl plank, roll on vinyl, and
Yeah,
then they'll
real
call it
shitty
an
stuff.
they'll call it an upgrade, and then they'll upcharge your rent by like $500 a
At
month.
least by $100. At least by $100.
Oh yeah.
And but my point was this: the bills were too high for us when my husband was working a job where he made $20 an hour, and I had to take a break from work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to take a break from it, just couldn't afford it. $20 an hour, couldn't afford an apartment. Okay?
Yeah.
And we had to go back to my parents, and thank goodness we did, because of COVID, we would have been completely wiped out.
Yeah.
Completely wiped out financially. And we'd be homeless or whatever
Something.
at this point.
Yeah.
So I got really fucking lucky by making that decision when I did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's disgusting how much money
Mm-hmm.
you have to make, and people are still like, oh yeah, 725, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
As a
and then the
minimum
people
wage,
that
that's
will like
perfectly
literally tell you to your face, "Oh, you can
What?
live off of minimum wage." No, you cannot. Unless you're getting help from someone, you cannot live off of minimum wage by yourself. You cannot sustain yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even if you're with someone, for example, who makes significantly more than minimum wage, and you're making minimum wage, the fact that you're making minimum wage is going to like affect the person that's not making minimum wage. It's like it literally fucks everything up. And that's something that we don't really realize is how bad the pay disparity is in this country and how stagnant the wages have been. Um, wages.
Another big example. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Oh no, you're
but
fine.
another big example was when I lived with my best friend and her boyfriend at the time
Mm-hmm.
in Carson. We lived in Carson. We lived in an apartment, and small apartments,
Mm-hmm.
2 bedroom, 1 bath,
Yeah.
kitchen, and living room, and that's it. Um, and really small things, and it took myself, her, and her boyfriend's income together for us to really like be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as her boyfriend fucked up and went AWOL and
Stole a
did
bunch of
whatever he
stuff.
did, he did some crazy shit. He was gone, and then that was 1/3 of our ability to take care of our bills gone. So we were like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And
Mm-hmm.
guess what we had to do? We had to leave. We just had to leave. We couldn't
Right.
do anything.
Yeah.
So and then I had to move back in with my parents, and then in and out and in and out, in and out, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like this in and out because
Well, and there's no
nothing
chance for stability.
is able. Yeah, nothing is able to sustain even a very meager living
Mm-hmm.
like
Well, and I know
outside,
the
because
apartments you're talking about, they weren't very nice apartments.
I
They
don't know
were
about you. I
basic.
live like my day to day, like barely spending any money at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like not even like $5 a day on coffee. Like
Same.
you know,
Like I would say my largest expense has always been food. Always. It's aside from rent. I mean, that's like one lump sum, so it feels kind of different when you're slowly taking money out of your account day by day so you can eat, and make decent food, so you can stay healthy and feel good. Um, and it's insane how little your dollar goes.
oh
So,
yeah. I mean, like I did, like I you know, $7 an hour is just so criminally low.
mm-hmm.
You can't afford jack shit that you're making $7 an hour no matter where you work.
Yeah.
Okay, like you can't in my opinion, you should be able to consistently purchase the products of the company
Mhm.
that you are working for,
Well, and the only
and
way we're
still be
going.
able to live out
Mhm.
on your own. You
Well,
should still be
yeah.
able to do that.
And the only, like, really the way we're going to get beyond past this is through, increasing the minimum wage. But you can't just stop there. We need robust unions. We need a robust public housing initiative. We need, a lot of these steps to make
I
sure
mean,
that
a lot of those steps have to come before minimum wage increase,
You
because
think
if
so?
you
I think the minimum wage increase. I mean, yeah, that does
well,
make
I mean, like
sense, though.
the major step
Yeah,
that we need to get to, which is about $20 to $22 an hour. That's
I
where
I
we
would
need to
say
get.
minimum wage should be 25 an hour.
Um,
Honestly,
I agree. I agree, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean that I think it's where it would head. But
yeah,
like
Here,
2022 is like where economists think we should be at.
yeah.
the unfortunate truth, though, is the number where we need to be, or where we should have been at all along, is closer to what Buttered Toast is saying. Because if you go back to the early 1970s, when wage and cost of living started
Hmm.
to separate
Well, that's
so
also factoring
much,
productivity as well, not just inflation.
that as well.
Hmm.
But wage stagnation, when it really started in the early 70s, if you go back to that time, and if we were to correct it to where it never got divided, minimum wage today would be the equivalent of $28 an hour.
Yeah. Well, and we
Like,
were
that's
talking about
Luckily,
raising the minimum wage when I was in high school. So, like, the whole 15 an hour thing, we were talking about that back in 2010. 2000 fucking
like you
10.
could
We've
imagine
had 10 years.
imagine both parents making $28 an hour. Like that's just not that's not a part of my life experience.
Yeah.
I've never like I've only seen that coming from people who work for the state and have worked for the
Mhm.
state for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I only see that coming from them, and they're still in so much debt from
Because
they were
their
young
whole
that
life they
it
were.
doesn't even matter.
Yeah, their
It
whole
doesn't
life
even
they've
matter.
had stagnant wages. They've been living off of starvation wages, so they had to rely on credit cards. They had to rely on personal loans, or even worse, some of these people went had to resort to predatory loans, like Dollar Loan Center or Money Tree, or personal payday loans that interest rates are at about 450%. And
Yeah,
that's not an
myself
exaggeration.
and
That's
Christian
reality.
had to get one of those as well.
Yeah.
For
Like
one time we had to get one of those. Luckily, we were able to pay it back when we got the paycheck. But
yeah. But it's like, a lot of people can't because and these businesses make their money this way because they know that these people that are getting these payday loans can't pay it back because they're stuck in a loop where they have to keep taking a payday loan to pay off the interest, and then they take another one to pay off the interest, and then another one. And then, the balances just keep growing and growing and growing, and it's something they end up having to deal with for the rest of their fucking lives.
Yep. Because
It
like
is
now me and Christian's combined debt is like already like 35,000.
That's
like
insane. Yeah.
And I'm 23. He's 26. Well, I'm going to be 23 soon, but he's 26. Our combined debt is $35-ish thousand.
Yeah.
That is
Unheard
significant.
of.
And by the way, we have not spent a single penny out of our means. Not a single penny.
Yeah, most of that debt is from student loans or, the car you need to get from point A to point B because you live in a rural area. That's another thing.
Cars and student loans.
Yeah. Another thing that conservatives will sit here and argue with is they'll sit there and say, oh, well, you don't need a car. A car's a luxury. It's like not in the United States. It's absolutely a necessity.
Bitch, it takes him 30 minutes to drive to work. There's no way he can walk there.
And no way he's going to take a bus. And there's no
day.
Bus. There's no tram.
Yeah,
this isn't a big city.
Train,
and or saying stuff like, oh, well, a job is a luxury. And I'm like, yeah, Yeah, someone told me that earlier this week, and I looked at him like, no, no. If you want to partake in society, a job is not a luxury. You need a job to pay your bills. And he was like, oh, well, the Amish don't have jobs. I'm like, motherfucker, the Amish is a completely different social group than
They
the rest
live
of
completely
America.
off the grid. They
Yeah,
live in a completely different
Yeah, yeah, not
society.
even like close. Yeah, if you grew up as an Amish person and you grew up with in the material conditions that taught you Amish values, yeah, a job is a luxury that you don't need because you're fucking Amish. But lo and behold, most people fucking aren't. In fact, most people live in societies, even global South societies.
most people live in mainstream society, is what you're saying.
Yes.
And that's, I think it's hope. I can't
It's
stand
telling
these
how,
arguments.
yeah,
I can't stand it because they're so. I need a better word than stupid. They're very
short-sighted and credulous.
short-sighted, narrow-minded, low IQ, out
Um,
of touch. You know what else to say? Like,
privileged.
They're just
I would say privileged. A lot of these viewpoints come from people who've never had to like
I
struggle
mean,
a day in their life.
oh,
Yeah.
like
you don't
here's
want to be poor? Stop being poor.
here's the thing is that I've heard shit like that from plenty of poor people. The
Mm-hmm.
fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you punching down, dude? What the fuck?
They're
That
conformative.
and your class traders, dude. Stop. Okay? We're supposed to be working together. You and
Mhm.
I make a comparatively closer amount of money than you and Jeff Bezos by a factor of $98 billion.
Oh
Like
yeah.
a really, really substantial,
Yeah.
like ending world hunger amount of money.
Yeah,
Okay?
you're much
So
closer to being homeless. I think what like one in
stop
four
defending them.
Americans. What 1 in 4 Americans have like experienced homelessness at least once in their lives? Like the statistic is like it's pretty high. Like
Christian was in that category.
yeah, like the amount of Americans who have like experienced homelessness at least once in their lives is like ridiculously high. Like higher than like any European nation almost, like higher than like Japan from my understanding.
It's
You know,
bad. Yeah,
like
it's pretty bad.
like it's
And you know what we do? We have anti-homeless architecture.
oh yeah, we put like
Excuse you?
yeah
When
like
I
the
found out
same.
that was a thing,
Mm-hmm.
I just about had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that this isn't a new thing. I know that this is a thing that has been happening for quite a long time. But when I personally found out that it was happening, because I haven't seen examples of it like in front of my own eyes, so I have to see it through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But when I found out that that was happening, it's like, what on earth? These people are inhumane. How can you justify that to yourself?
So it is really sad and it is crazy that that's happening. But to me, what's even more insane is that when that concept came out, and it was a while back, but it was limited to large cities that experience higher homelessness populations, right? So like San Francisco, Seattle, that sort of thing.
Well, the vast majority of the places that experience that problem are large cities.
Yes, but the problem is that after that, since then, since it was introduced, it's actually become mainstream, where every city, regardless of what they're dealing with homelessness, has now incorporated that into their overall city planning designs. Go to downtown Carson right now. Well, maybe not right now, but in the middle of the day, look at the new downtown redevelopment project since it was opened in 2016. All over the place, there's anti-homelessness architecture on all the sides, on all the different bricks that make up those planters. There's bars, so nobody can lay on top of it. It's all intentional. There's each of the benches have little gaps to make it impossible for you to lay on. All of this has been introduced in pretty much any new concept when a city redoes their downtown or whatever.
Yeah, and I have noticed some of those things, but it's just how can you
I have a fucking idea. How about you make a fucking homeless shelter, huh? How about
Yeah,
that? At
use-
the very
use the
fucking
money.
least.
Use the concrete. Fuck.
Like,
Why?
how much
We
money
outlaw
does it
having-
cost? How much money does it cost to deliberately change, like, the architecture of something to be anti-homeless, as opposed to, like, building a couple of, like, you know, manufactured trailers that were developed in a fucking warehouse that you can slap down, give people a separate room somewhere that's, you know, small with a small bed and
slashed budget that Lori Bagwell proposed. Can't do
yeah.
it. Nope.
Like,
We have
God.
to, we have to cut the budget, Jaden. We can't add more stuff to it. We have to cut it
Oh
all or
right, yeah,
something.
because you
Hey,
know,
I-
you know, putting more money in deliberate architecture that keeps people from fucking is slashing the fucking
being
budget
able to
as
be
opposed
there if
to
we need to.
building a fucking homeless shelter. Like, how much money does it cost to get a fucking mobile trailer or several of them? Because they're ubiquitous everywhere. We use them all the time wherever we go when we're building something new on a plot of land or whatever. Like, they're cheap to fucking build. You could do that, but no, you have to fucking fuck with these people. We have 200 homeless people in Carson City alone. This is a town of 50,000. A town of 50 fucking thousand. And
Yes.
the ratio of homeless to non-homeless is insane for a city this size.
I also think we have a little bit more of a homeless population than what you're saying. I think it's closer to around 1,000. The problem is that our homeless counts are never accurate, and
Right.
the reason is because the
We shuttle
sheriff's
them
department-
off.
I think I talked about this before, but the sheriff's department intentionally picks up as many
Mhm.
homeless people throughout the day as possible, and then drops them off right outside of our city's
Yeah.
border.
You know, God
You know-
forbid we could actually, like, you know, improve the material
You know-
conditions of these
you know,
people's
and
lives and
the-
make sure
these-
that they're productive members of fucking society. No, we're gonna just shuffle them to the end of
We
our
don't
city
know
fucking
God-
limits.
we're not citizens.
all of the religious people in the United States, you know, should be outraged at all of this shit. Because if you did this shit, you're going to hell. 100%. You're going to hell. Like if and like I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in
no.
that stuff. But the thing is that if you even take it just from a scripture perspective, you're going to hell. Okay? Jesus didn't I wouldn't say that he was just a nomad. Let's just put it, you know, lightly. He was homeless pretty much. So
Mhm.
I have a feeling that maybe God would kind of side with the part of him that kind of saw what the worst of humanity was like, you know? I kind of feel like he would be like, how the fuck could you do that? That's horrible. So if you are okay with like anti-homeless structure or literally just taking homeless people to the outskirts of the city, right? Yeah, you're probably going to hell. I'm sorry to tell you, you're probably going to hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I don't understand because people tout these values so much, and when
And then they pat themselves
are-
on the back because they think they've actually done something when they've done fuck all because they keep ignoring the fucking homeless person on the side of the fucking street because they don't fucking care. They don't.
you know,
But it's a very good photo op when it's the holidays and you
Yeah.
want to hand out soup nugget for the homeless people once a year.
yeah,
Right,
and
yeah.
I mean, like I know that I don't that I haven't actively volunteered at these homeless shelters. Like I don't know where they are in Carson, and I don't know where they are in Reno. But
One of these days, I will take you for a drive and I will show you everything.
Okay.
You would actually be interested in seeing some of this because it's sad.
Actually, you know what? We should
the thing
probably
is
like
that you know I don't I'm not going to espouse moral superiority because I'm like, oh well, I've thought about doing it.
Yeah.
so like I still want people to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
And I wish that more people would be willing to help, because I think that there are genuinely good people out there that
Well,
for
being
some reason don't
homeless
help.
doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You know,
Oh, that's
and
not what I was trying to
no,
imply.
I
Not at
know.
all.
I'm just trying to piggyback on like what you said. You know, I'm just trying to expand on it. But like like what people tend to forget is that you're not inherently lesser because you're homeless. You know, I wonder how many fucking Albert Einsteins we may have had who are on the streets because of material conditions that they had to go through, you know. It's not just, you know, people with mental health issues that end up homeless. It's veterans. It's, you know, people that were kicked out of their parents' house because they may be gay or trans or lesbian or bisexual, or, you know, their religious values aren't aligned, or, you know, or you know, their parents are abusive, or, you know, their significant other is abusive. You have to get away from a domestic violence thing. And it's like the whole idea that we should look down on these people without actually knowing who the fuck they are is disgusting, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all
And
I have to say on that.
And I've always heard the same thing, is that like, oh, you buy homeless people food so that they don't spend their money on drugs.
Yeah, I hear that all the time
That's the
too,
shit
and it's
I
like,
hear.
come on,
That's the
dude.
shit that I was raised like being
Mhm.
told.
Yep.
And I didn't really like to buy that shit. I kind of just was like, here, like I always just gave them
Mhm.
money.
Because you don't know
Because
what
it's
they're
none of
gonna
my
do.
fucking business.
Yeah.
Number one, it's none of my fucking business.
Yeah.
Number two, they are allowed to do anything with the money that I give them, because I'm giving them the money. It's no longer my money; it's their money.
You know what?
So
I have a job, and you know, I have a roof over my head, and you know what? Sometimes, because it's legal in the state of Nevada, sometimes I like to, you know, relax, you know, and take some edge off. Maybe I like to have a beer too, or, you know, a drink. Homeless
he's
people are
talking
fucking heat people
of
still,
this, by
you
the way.
know. Yes. No, I'm talking about tobacco. Anyway, you know, super tobacco. But
But it
but
is
my
that it
point
runs
is
even
that
deeper than just that. It runs even deeper than just that. If you're talking about homelessness, people have to remember that how horrific it is when you're on the streets. There are literally, if you're going to take money and you're going to go buy drugs or alcohol or whatever, it's literally in so many cases to keep your fucking self warm. It's literally to try to escape the fact that you're sleeping behind a fucking dumpster.
yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with even just recreational. And yeah,
Yeah.
people get addicted
Well,
to this
and
stuff.
you know, a lot of times, like, alcohol abuse and drug abuse stems from trauma, and homelessness is a form of
Traumatic.
trauma, and people forget about that. And you know, and then people will sit there and say, "Well, they chose to drink. They chose to spend their money on drugs instead of food. It's like, no, they really didn't. I mean, yeah, I guess in some
They
weird
didn't really have much of a choice. What's
right.
$20 here and there when you can't actually make a start on it?
Yeah, it's
You know?
like you know, like what you do if you want to stop
It's not
homelessness,
not enough.
get you know, build a large shelter, give these people separate rooms that they can actually stay in. You don't have to give someone a big palatial,
And on
you
top
know.
of that, send out a jobs program
Yeah,
and
we have a
help all of
crumbling
them find work,
we have a
get back into
crumbling
the society.
infrastructure. You know, we have our roads are completely deteriorating. You know,
Garbage.
our water systems.
750 billion fucking dollars for our defense budget. Okay, why?
Well, and you
Bombs.
know,
Why?
yeah, and it's not even.
Aircraft
Hey,
carriers.
and then another point. When people sit there and say, "Oh, well, you know, you need to like go join the army if you want free college, or if you want a job,
yeah.
join the army, join the military, join the Navy." It's like, well, these homeless people can't do that because they don't have an address because they're homeless.
Yeah, they literally can't do the thing that we tell people who are down on their luck to go do.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
they
You know,
literally
and
cannot. And not only
but
that,
it's not
but a
even
lot
it's
of
not even
people.
just that now, because now we tell everybody to go for the
Mhm.
military because it gives you some kind
Of benefits, yeah,
of
like the GI
benefit,
Bill and
and it gives you
housing.
some college and
Hmm.
some medical care and
Yeah,
all of this shit, but you have to trade your fucking life away for it. You have
yeah,
to trade your whole fucking life away for it.
yeah.
Trade your whole life away so that you can not die.
So yeah, pretty
Right?
much,
Yeah.
and
You
it's
could also die.
yeah. Oh yeah, you might die
Yeah, I mean,
in a
you could
worse
just
way.
die, loser.
Yeah, you might die
But
of an IED if they put you in a combat role. I mean, yeah, let's be real here though. Most roles in the military aren't combat roles.
No.
At least right now. Like if you were to join like the army, for example, you're more likely to be like repairing Humvees in a military base in Germany more than anything. Um, but oh, and a lot of homeless people work. A lot of homeless people have jobs and they have a paycheck. They just can't afford the fucking rent. Anyway, it is actually almost top of the hour where we're at. So I don't know if anyone has any final thoughts, but
we're keeping it kind of close knit
mhm.
tonight.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I have some other stuff that I have to do, and
Yeah.
I
I
I don't.
I went to
I'm
bed at
sorry.
5 in the morning and I woke up at 8 in the morning, so I got like 3 hours of sleep today.
And I
so.
also have to make sure that Christian gets an okay night's sleep. So,
Yeah. Well, and you have
but
to you have to give him a lot of affection and all that too. So, given that he's your husband and your significant other, cuddle with him.
So
Tell him that you love him. Tell him that he is a special boy. Your special boy.
And
I see your shit-eating grin there, Aaron.
Has Naomi gone to the shop that I recommended to her?
What shop you recommended to her?
I recommended Adam and Eve for a particular product.
Oh,
I want to know if she went.
I will not disclose such information. By the way, do not pay any attention to the.
Just don't talk about me cuddling up on my man.
Just don't pay any attention to the red marks on my neck. So next time, or the weird leash in the background.
Say what, Aaron? I didn't.
Nothing at all. I think for folks to know, we have a. I'm going to go back on what I said earlier, but I hope everybody starts off this year really well. At least personally, we can't control the world or all these other stupid issues, but
I mean, we can hope that our individual lives are okay.
By the way, what I said to you, Tim, wasn't meant to like be salacious.
Oh no, it was a joke. It was a joke.
Okay.
If I was intending to be malicious, the things I could do.
Mm-hmm. It'd be far more.
I can only get turned on so much, Tim. So you might want to.
I can only be so aroused.
Yes, I can only get so erect.
So yeah, I mean, right now, keeping an eye on the election thing, because final point for me, is that Donald Trump is like literally asking Georgia officials to fix the election for him post-election.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there. I really like we're it is currently January 3rd. We have 3 days left until the Senate comes to a vote on it.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Was it when the Senate comes to a vote on just to confirm?
Officializing the election results?
Yeah.
Or the election call?
When is it? January 6th?
It's either the 4th or the 6th. That's either tomorrow.
I feel like it's the 6th.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it's the 20th when Joe Biden would be sworn in.
By the way, I was thinking we could do some like prepared content soon too, like scripted content. Like Aaron, you brought up like the some of the homelessness issues in Carson City, for example. I think that'd be a good thing to put on our channel too at some point. In
Yeah,
depth, kind of like a
and,
weird like ad hoc journalism kind of thing, but so
regardless, that was my end
Mhm.
point. Because I wanted to put that out there just in case like civil war happens between now and then.
there won't be a civil
Oh.
war. I don't think. It'll just be a bunch of whining and
I'm not
complaining.
saying shit.
No, I
Not
know.
saying
I
shit until it's done.
The next couple weeks, they were going to be exciting to watch on TV and streaming and all that
Yes.
fun stuff when it comes to all the fights in the street. This is
Oh,
gonna be
what we're
great.
gonna need to do some like coverage of like some of the videos we see and like some of the, like we need to do some like reactions of that stuff. But anyway,
Work with Smack.
anyway, we thank you for everyone that came on. We only had like 2 concurrent viewers today, but it's better than 0. So, and we'll be back
and
next
I
week.
apologize for everyone on. Yeah, and I apologize for everyone on my end where if
Mhm.
you're watching this that it's super pixel. That's my internet. My internet is
Yeah.
horrible. So
Yeah, mine's been like on and off with like it's been alternating between Rodon and Aaron. So anyway, I mean, hopefully next time Anthony will be able to join us. We'll probably have to
Yeah.
put a catheter up his urethra as punishment, but that's just the way we do things.
well,
Extreme.
yeah, well,
Extreme pleasure.
I guess it is because I think the last time we were talking about sounding or something. So, all right.
We'll be talking with a burrito.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay, and with sounding, we're off. Have a
All
good night,
right.
everyone.
See you guys.